had my daughters for the weekend, and school holidays, all that kind of stuff got in the kind of way, and so hence we've delayed by 24 hours. But hey, we are still here. And why do I say we? Because yes, I have got him back again. Here he is, Steve Cornflake is here from the deep south to come and join us on the show. So look, we're heading into autumn now. I can see you've got the hoodie on. So is it getting a bit cold down there?
No, of course, no. Just just thought I'd support the boys that made the playoffs. Top 6 into round 1, up against the Bucks, who were 5-1 against for the season. Feeling confident we're going to go round 2. Why not?
So for those of you on the podcast rather than watching on the video, that's the Indiana Pacers on the old NBA that he's supporting down there, and he's got his Pacers flag behind him and his All Blacks flag behind him in his studio. So yes, all repping the team, because for those of you that don't know, he went over to the US last year and stopped off for a Pacers game, and they came along and gave him a whole bunch of merch. It was fantastic. I mean, well done. And we actually did a video. Yeah, they do. So that's called fan engagement. Actually, that's one of the things we're going to talk about this weekend. Actually, this week, sorry, is around what is Super Rugby, or how should they grow Super Rugby? Very briefly, because we've gone over this a few times before, folks. Steve and I did do a video where I actually talked about his experience at games over there, so that was kind of cool. So if you want to become a Patreon and watch that video, pop into the head over to patreon.com/NZ Sport Radio, where we had a quick chat about that. And actually, it's also as a podcast as well, if you're not a video-y kind of person. I'll be honest, I'm not. I do all these live streams. I'm not a video person. I listen to podcasts. I don't watch videos. But there we go. How do you consume? Are you a video person or a podcast person?
Probably more a reader. You
have to be a reader,
A reader. I'm not that old. Come on. No.
Ouch.
No, I'm very more a streamer. I'm a background noise streamer. That's really how I watch my stuff. Or all videos. But yeah, definitely not podcasts. Streams videos definitely for me. But yeah, background streams. I'll probably watch the most stuff that way. Just on another screen while you're editing tirelessly, like I do, yeah.
Yeah, so cycling's my other sort of dirty secrets sports thing, and that one I'll do podcast, but also I will watch I'll obviously watch highlights and stuff by video, but generally it's as far as sort of opinion stuff, it's all on the old podcast there. The reviewers are here, joined us on the old YouTube, because you can join us on YouTube, Facebook, or the old Twitter, X, whatever the hell Elon Musk is calling it this year or this week, if he hasn't sacked everybody, because apparently he's sacking some more people now over at the old Tesla side of things. Or you can say you listen to the podcast as well. But the viewer says Uruguay have 3 Tier 1 fixtures lined up for July: France, Argentina, and Scotland. Fantastic. That's cool. Look, the team that came out as America's won the last Rugby World Cup for a qualifying point of view. So fantastic that they're actually getting some Tier 1 games between Rugby World Cups. That will just only help them grow. So yes, very, very good to see that is going on. Still a shame that the America's Rugby Championship doesn't exist anymore, which sort of sat in the Rugby Championship window. But hopefully they'll get that back together again over there, or something that regular kind of tournament. But cool to see they've got 3 Tier 1 games. That's good.
And hopefully they play their best, as in not Uruguay, as in France, Argentina, and Scotland. We want to see the best. I mean, they struggled to beat them in the World Cup, didn't they, France? So, they can't go out here rollicking like they're just going to smoke everyone.
It's the July window, okay? All the top French players are still playing the top 14 final, so they're definitely going to miss that first weekend, right? So it's not going to be
2 teams are.
Well, 2 teams, but so it's not going to be a full strength French team because they're missing 2 teams worth of players. But there's no excuse for Argentina and Scotland to not have their full strength team out.
But the thing is with France, what is their best team?
Well,
because France is such a wishy-washy, choppy-changey nation of rugby that it's like your first team last week certainly ain't your first team next week. So look, they've got enough depth. They've got a lot better. They've got a lot better
under the current coaching system, right? We coaches that we can actually name things like yes, the first choice halfback combination would like to be Dupont and Ntamak. The problem is Ntamak spends half his time injured, and Dupont thinks, "Hey, I can wear these big pink fluffy bathrobes as going out clothes." And then I don't remember that fashion shoot he had on Twitter where he had this ludicrous It was fantastic. It's great that you can pull it off. And hey, look, if you're young and at the top of your game like that, hell, do stupid stuff like that. But boy, it was fun and stupid. Off playing sevens. So yeah, it's yeah. Look, they are getting consistency of I think they're getting much better consistency of selection. And look, even in the Six Nations, right? They realized they got it wrong in the first 2 rounds and then fixed it and were much better when they actually started the correct scrum half.
Yeah, they
that
fixed
played
it
the
by
right
playing
style.
a fly half at fullback and a fullback at fly half. Yep, they nailed it. Very
Well,
France.
yeah.
Very France. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but the All Blacks were doing that with D-Mac this time, weren't they?
It's a cool thing to do. It's hip.
Oh, dear me. Well, so thank you, reviewer, for bringing that to our attention. Because look, we are stuck here in New Zealand, literally living on the edge of the world. For all of you flat earthers, if you come here, you can actually see the waterfall. That's how far away we are from everyone else. We are really at
Especially
the edge
down
of the
my
world,
end.
water falling off. Down your way, yes, absolutely.
I literally can fish off the side of that waterfall. Yeah.
You go to Stuart Island. You can swing your legs over the edge. Apparently, it's a record number of tests. 35 test matches apparently this year in July. Previous record was 28. Wow, that's so look, that's good. Actually, the tier 2 nations are actually getting games. Because boy, oh boy, last time it was kind of like, oh yes, look, we've managed to, in the last 3 years, New Zealand have played 42 test matches, and the Fiji have played 6. And the stupid stuff like that was like, kind of, seriously, guys, you're not going to build a team if you don't put together. Now, whilst those numbers are made up, they're not a million miles from the truth, because New Zealand averages around about 14 test matches a year, hence my 42 number, and Fiji would probably get about 9, maybe 10 or so in that kind of time. So so those numbers are off the top of my head, but they're not a million miles from the truth, folks. So should we hit a news section?
Go for it.
But I've actually got a structured news section this time, which is brilliant.
Okay. I've got one too, but I hope it's in yours, then I don't have to do it. Wait, go.
Oh, signing or news?
Signing.
Signing. So Ian Foster's got his first new job with Toyota Verblitz.
Come on, Nick. Don't care about him.
So he's off there. Just and he's already signed Joey Manu from the Roosters. So there you go. That's
I did see that. Good pickup.
To me, that's a real strange one. All right, you're talking about a 27-year-old in NRL changing sports to rugby union, and he's doing it overseas, so he's unlikely to. He's not going to make it to the All Blacks, or whatever. So it's this screams pure money move, nothing else, unless he's trying to do what Sonny Bill Williams did, which was like do a couple of seasons in France in the run-up to Rugby World Cup, and then come down to New Zealand for the following World Cup. If this is a Joey Manu 6-year or 7-year, whatever it is, 6-year plan now, I think it is, or 7-year plan for the 2027 Rugby World Cup. Sorry, not for the next one's 27, so it would be 2031. If he's aiming for the 2031 Rugby World Cup, then cool. Otherwise, it's just a pure money move.
He'll be 34. Did you say he's 27?
Yeah.
So he'll be 34.
So yeah, it's a very strange one to me. To be
That makes no sense. It's money. It's Japan money. It's all money.
So yeah, so that's
NRL players.
So yeah, so interesting. So yeah, very strange on that. Going to Japan. Look, he's not going to. I mean, the top league is much improved, heading in the right direction. Yada yada yada. But it is not the top 14. It is not Super Rugby. It's not one of the top leagues in the world, right? At the end of the day, so very strange. I say very strange one to go from the pinnacle of your sport, pretty much in the NRL, playing for the Roosters, 2-time grand final champion, etc. To this. So I'll be asking the boys tomorrow night on the standoff show what's going in. But yeah, really strange one there on that one to me. Nocturnal writes, my name is cashing in. He'll be going back to the rugby eventually, and good on him. Absolutely. Look, hey, go for it, mate. Earn the cash when you can. Not that I think he's hard up, to be honest, playing in NRL. But if you want to leave a legacy, that's not the way to do it, I think. And it comes down to what's your driver? Are you? Yeah, is it purely a job and it's about the cash, or is it about leaving a legacy and having a reputation and yada yada? If he's about the cash and it's purely a job, then good on him. Absolutely, right choice. If you're trying to leave a dent in and have a legacy, that's total waste of time.
Yeah, well done. Who cares? NRL players never transition into rugby that well.
Apart from Jason Robinson.
And Sonny Bill.
Boy from Tokoroa doing well. Oh, absolutely. And well done. It's and let's be honest, look, in Tokoroa, he'd been playing both rugby union and rugby league. This is not him going, this is not Lewis Roos Summit going to the NFL, right? Joey Manu has played a lot of rugby union in his as a kid. So yeah, he's got probably 10 or so years experience playing as a kid. So apparently it's a 2-year deal. Who were done in a year and 3 months. Even so, but still, it's a impressive. Japan League One average crowds are 6.5 to 9. Yeah, look, are up from 6.5K to 9 and 8.5K. Absolutely, look, it's Japan are actually are slowly getting their act together. Okay, on this one, still, I don't know how professional the Japanese rugby union is yet, because it used to be an amateur rugby union setup. No one got very few people got paid at all. Running what is one of the strongest rugby union nations in the world. Let's be blunt here. And with all those company teams, we've been having Western or main or tier 1 superstars going over there for well over a decade now, and to still have a totally amateur rugby union not being run by a paid CEO is just nuts. But anyway, I hope they are moving in the right direction, unlike some other countries. So the other signing then, Geordie Barrett, was that the one you were talking about?
That was, yeah. That was my big news.
So Geordie Barrett signed until 1 year after the Rugby World Cup in 2028. That's a weird one. Again, now 2029 is Lions when he wants to stick around until. But to sign to one, it just seems a bit of a weird kind of timing. Is he then going to sign a 1 year deal for the Lions, or is he then going to? Why do you sign people to 1 year after the Rugby World Cup? You either sign to the Rugby World Cup or the Lions. It just seems a weird one to me.
Yeah, I never really considered that. But there'll probably be some dumb logical reason to it, right? But that's just a signing for the Hurricanes, though, isn't it? That with New Zealand Rugby, whatever. So that's just that's not. Do they really put any targets like that on? I mean, he's not that old. Yeah. Not in terms of. They want to make sure he's ready he's there for the World Cup. That's what they'll be caring about. Like, okay, you want an extra year, whatever. But look, the rugby union would have gone to him and gone, we want you until 2027. And if he's gone, well, give me to 2028, they're going, whatever. I don't give a crap. As long as you're here in 2027, that's all I really care about. So, yeah, it makes no sense. But there'll be, there's always those behind the scenes reasons you don't really know about. The Barretts are a little bit weird, aren't they? So, there'll be something there. But it's more where he's going next year. That's weirder. That's a weird thing.
And then, so next year he's heading off to Leinster for the off season, for the Super Rugby season. Which now look, we've had people. I think it's fantastic. I mean, go and steal the secrets from the enemy. I mean, perfect signing. I mean, where else? It's the you're going to one of clearly one of the best club sides in the world, right? Leinster. It's a fantastic setup he's going to, and so I think he'll learn a lot going over there. Leinster having the RDS closed for the second half of the season. Will play every game in Aviva. Maybe they want to bump in the crowd. Look, I mean, again, learn your enemy. Bring in one of the top players in the world. He's one of the top 2 or 3 players in that 12 jersey globally, right? So you're going to bring something to your team come Heineken finals time, and you're going to learn stuff from him that you can put so that you can spread out through the rest of the team. So to me, it's a good thing for both sides of learning. It's a strange year to do it. Normally, you do it this year straight after. Oh, it's only do it in the the kind of year after the Rugby World Cup. You wouldn't do it in 2025. You done it last this year in 24. But otherwise, kind of cool. He's going as backup fullback. You're not signing Geordie Barrett for a season for backup fullback. Sorry. But so you remember the first choice Ireland 12 is I've gone blank, but I'm sure he doesn't play for Leinster. He plays for Connacht, doesn't he?
Ringrose?
No, the other one.
Key.
Okay. Yeah,
Key
so
plays for Connacht,
he plays for Connacht. So therefore, there is that jersey available from that point of view on that one. Looks right. It's guaranteed selection then for Geordie Barrett through till 2050. Well, they signed a 4-year deal with Julian Sevilla, and he didn't get guaranteed selection. So remember, he ended up breaking it halfway through and going off to Toulon because basically New Zealand Rugby were like, "How the hell do we get this guy off the books? You want to go play this in Toulon and get paid more? Absolutely, we'll let you go. Yeah, we're not going to charge you a breach of contract or ask for any compensation. We've just got someone off the books who isn't a first choice All Black getting paid well up there first choice All Black money on that one. So that one on that one. Not trying to wonder if the contract system makes the coaches more conservative in picks as cash has a limit. Well, look, it definitely makes. There will be a certain element of that. Look, if Razor has not been involved in these conversations, then something's very, very wrong. But let's be honest, Geordie Barrett at the moment is first choice All Black at 12. And he's definitely in the All Black squad as first or second choice in there. He's someone you want to have around. It would be a loss for New Zealand Rugby if he left at the end of the day. That's my opinion. I don't see anything wrong with giving him that contract. Steve?
And a lot of contracts are based on selection and performance anyway bonuses. So you get your X salary for Super Rugby, but upon All Black selection, you get X bonus. Upon starting, you get X bonuses. You get more and more score tries. It is through NPC. Well, it used to be through NPC in Super Rugby. Don't know what it is higher than that. But, if you didn't make selection, say, into Super Rugby from NPC, half your contract's pretty much chopped off because you don't make that next step for financial bonuses. So I don't know what it's like further up, but if it's like that, if you've got a guy saying, hey, if you make the All Blacks, you get an extra this much money, good. If he doesn't make the All Blacks, then hey, we've just saved ourselves all this money and go on from there.
No, at this level, Geordie's level, it's not. That's because of injuries and stuff. No, he gets a certain guarantee because he is a first choice All Black.
Now, sure, get more though for selection and
I get slightly more, but it's not massively more. I don't think. Maybe I'm
anyway, Geordie just wants to go hang out with Gibson Park and James Lowe, really. That's all. He just wants to go and buy a farm over there and teach those guys how to do some farming, milk some cows on Irish land.
He is trying to find someone to explain contracts like a player agent. If you know one, let us know. Yeah, we'd love to have someone like that. It'd be great. His dad had a farm over there, apparently.
15 years ago,
rugby. Sorry?
15 years ago, wasn't it? Or
5
years ago. 15 years ago.
15 years. Oh, yeah, not 5 years ago. Yeah, 15 years ago. But even so, so there is a family connection there, apparently, and clearly he was alive then. So he did spend some time in Ireland as a kid as well.
There you go. James Lowe could teach him how to kick further. That would be good. Take all the secrets. Just don't talk to Gibson Park because we don't want anyone learning how to pass shitter. We've already got Finley Christie. Thank you.
So, do you got any other signing news?
No, not really. That was my big news for the day. And I mean, our Leinster are still in. It's not happened yet, but a lot of talk is rumours that they're going to be going up to Talian Tupou as well. So on the Leinster topic, if that does happen, would be very intriguing. But I think I reckon he would wait to see what's happening with Rebels. I think he wants to be more of a Wallaby than he does a cash merchant. But yeah, Geordie Barrett, yeah, who cares? I reckon it's a good chance for the All Blacks to find some depth in that position because international level, we really don't have the depth through that midfield, especially at 12. We haven't for years, really. So next year could be a good year for building that depth and finding out who's coming up through those ranks and going to handle
he's only missing Super Rugby. He's not missing the All Blacks, right?
That's what I mean. But we still get a chance to build some guys through those levels.
Yeah, true. Is Rob Penny getting re-signed? Well, I don't know what his contract is, but if he signed anything less than 2 years, look, he's probably signed a 4-year contract. I don't think he needs to be re-signing just yet.
I think we looked this up before, didn't we?
I can't remember now. But we're moving on to naughty boy corner now, because we've had a few red cards over the last 2 weeks. So Tate McDermott and Fraser McWright, 2 red cards we'll talk about today as part of the show. But they've both copped 3-week bans. Fraser McWright can go down to 2 if he goes to tackle school, which, let's be honest, he will do just to get it reduced. But that's tough for them because the threads have got coming up: Highlanders, Blues, Crusaders. Ouch! That's not a nice run to be losing those 2 players for, at least the Highlanders and the Blues on that one. So yes, so that's I'd say a bit of a tough one there on the Reds. But I mean, sorry, but swinging arms and stuff. But we'll talk about those during the actual game. But 3 weeks, I'm not complaining about those. I think about right.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of variables to go through there, isn't there? With the pleas and the courses and the differences and heights and discretions and blah 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 blah. But I mean, it wasn't 6-week, Roby, was it? We didn't get a Frank Lamani top rope elbow.
Well,
so I guess
that's the next one we're going to talk about.
You're setting a precedent, aren't you, a bit with all these suspensions going on? And Rob Penny's got a 2-year deal, by the way, so he signed 2 years when he came back. Yeah.
Look, Lamani, 6 weeks. Now, there's a big difference between a swinging punch to the face that basically didn't connect anyway, and a elbow straight down to the back of someone's head, who's totally so to me, 6 weeks, happy with that. I think that sends a very clear message. You don't do that kind of stuff, really. Robbie Daly asking about the Pacers. I think you have to go to Cornflake's channel and ask him on there when he has one of his live streams about how they're going to go in and how they're going to go in the on that one.
Round 2, buddy.
Yeah.
Bucks are going down.
Found a legal thesis from 1999 on the discipline process in rugby. Bans were decided by team management until the early 90s. Rugby is still working this stuff out. Dr. writes, yes, absolutely. Look, rugby is a kind of pretending to be professional organisation. They're still figuring out what the hell. Cornflake, Steve's channel is Cornflake. Cornflake, is that what you call it now?
Yeah.
So just search for Cornflake on YouTube. Look, rugby is still an amateur sport that's trying to figure it out as to what professionalism means. Let's be honest. We've just got one of the other things we're going to talk about on this show is going to be the New Zealand board and that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that briefly because God, we've gone over it a few times. But there's been a good article and stuff that I'm going to sort of bring up. So anyway, Frank Lamani, 6 weeks, quite right. The headbutt, 2 weeks. Melbourne Rebels coach came out and said, "Oh, it's disgusting. That's hardly anything. Malicious headbutt." To me, it was a pretty nothing headbutt. That I think that he wasn't going to cause any damage the way he headbutted him. At the end of the day, it was more my face into your face. Again, we don't want headbutts. Headbutts are wrong. I'd probably put it same 3 weeks, the same as the other 2 Rebels guys, rather than 2. But hey, I'm not going to get too upset about it. I wouldn't. It's definitely not a 6-week one in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't complain about them either. I mean, it's dumb stuff, though, isn't it? It's stupid. It's stupid stuff. It's high tackles are one thing, or these head clashes and stuff like that. But this is like this should be. I think this should be getting more than that, because that's like, okay, you're trying to tackle someone, you messed it up a little bit. It was accidentally, but it's still illegal, right? This is just dumb stuff. Where it's just like you just don't do it. It's not like you made a mistake. You've just lost your head. Get better.
Yeah, that's why I put it 3 weeks, like Tate McDermott. Hey, look, don't swing your arm in someone's face, you dumb. That was a dumb move by him. So I would put it on the same level as that, as dumb stuff.
Dumb stuff.
On that one, Christopher, I feel like France is the only country to have found its professional model. Yes, you're probably right. Actually, Japan as well. But then again, it's probably been more professional in Japan for longer the fact that it's company teams where basically you're paid to work for the team while you also play rugby. So on that side of things. Final piece there, Frank Lamani's the racial abuse towards him. Now, apparently there's insufficient evidence of that to follow through. But look, the disgusting for that to be happening, totally anti-racial. I really do not agree with racial abuse at all. So yeah, look, on that side of things, so it's a shame that they can't actually find the person and throw the book at them and make an example of it, because we don't that stuff has no place in society, not in sport, but in society, full stop, in my book.
No arguments here.
Aussie crowd on the Raw went septic on the Drua players' cards, but minimised red cards. Look, come on. Then if I got some Ashwin on here and Boa on here, there'll be lots of minimising blue cards and maximising Crusaders cards. So don't worry. Look, that's something that fans do the world over. Okay, that's not that's got nothing. That's all that one is on there. Chris, Japan is just the sugar daddy model in disguise. No. Big difference. There you've got teams that have been with companies for 50, 60, 100 years. I mean, for a very long time. It's culturally ingrained that companies look after not just their employees during work hours, but also their employees' general well-being. And part of that is having sports and social clubs. Now, something that we don't really see here in New Zealand, apart from in a couple of companies like Fonterra, who are big enough to have those social clubs and stuff. Most companies here are only about 15 to 20 people, so you don't need a social club. You all just go down to the pub afterwards on a Friday anyway, or have a beer and bit. But those companies are several thousand people, or thousands of people, or even tens of thousands of people, and so hence they have that formal structure in place, and it's ingrained and it's there for long term. The sugar daddy model is, I like playing with this stuff, and as soon as I die, the rest of my family don't give a shit, and they shut us down. Hence, Worcester Warriors, right? But it's much more about it's my personal fun. It's my personal thing, and as soon as I'm gone, or because that's what people don't tend to change on these things. They do tend to stick around most of the time until they die. So on that kind of thing, it's a bit different on that one. The naming of teams after areas has helped the Japanese one. Yeah, look, make it more geographical rather than more company. Has definitely changing to rather from the top league to the Japanese one league, whatever it's called now, is a step in the right direction. They are getting the right way. Any more other Naughty Boys Corner? Because that's my Naughty Boys Corner done.
Not that I can think of. I'll be struggling to remember what happened 3 days ago. But McDermott I think McDermott was the worst one. Yeah, dickhead. I quite like.
Clearly, elbow to the head was the worst one. Lamani.
Oh, Lamani. I'm talking about this in the last weekend, though. And the last weekend just happened. I think that in terms of the way that match was, in terms of the way that match was going, and the leadership kind of position he has in that team, that was the worst. It was suicidal. We'll talk about more in the game.
As far as the result goes, it was suicidal. Yeah. Absolutely. That was just shooting yourself in the foot big time.
And a leader, though. It's not like this guy's coming in with 6 caps and it's in his first season or something like that. This guy's a very experienced player.
We'll get on to the game there, but disallowed try, yellow card, red card.
That's right.
It was it's why they lost the game. So but we will get on to that one. So final thing then.
Too many Naughty Boy corners. What's going on with that?
I've stolen it off the rugby league guys. They have.
Oh no, but the last 2 weeks has been horrific though. Like,
yes,
there's been 4 red cards. 5 red cards. There's 4 red cards than I've seen in.
The Highlanders got a red card as well, didn't they?
Oh, see, you're testing my memory now, but 4 or 5, regardless, it's more than I've seen in ages. It's crazy.
I'm sure there's another one. I thought there was another one somewhere. Anyway, yeah, but
the Highlanders got a red.
Before I get sued by Highlanders for libel.
I mean, there's yellows throughout. It's crazy. It's really
it has
crazy.
gone a bit mad.
Discipline's gone out the window the last couple of weeks.
But what's really what's really been different is that we've had those three. We get red cards and stuff for the tackles and the shoulder going too high. We expect those. We do not expect them for elbows to the head, punch to the head, and headbutts. Those were like, where the hell did they come from? Three in 2 weeks. Whereas you go the rest of the season, won't get any of those. So so there's something's in the water. They've all been drinking loony juice.
You know what I reckon it is? It's a bit more of the fact that I think that the lesser teams are actually pushing the should-win team, expected win team favourites more than they're expecting, and it's causing a bit of frustration. You know, teams are going like the Reds. I mean, they should have pumped. I mean, we'll talk about it in their game. It should have been a runaway. And frustration, pressure, it just goes to show. I think it's just that is partially down to it. You're seeing teams that are expecting to win, believing they're going to win, knowing you're going to win, getting frustrated and lashing out.
Yep. That's okay. It's a poor excuse, but maybe it is a reason.
But anyway, there's no excuse for that sort of stuff.
I want to close out the news section.
Yes. News, and then next week we'll come back for the games.
So good piece in the stuff by Richard Nola. Never heard of him before, but hey, well done, Richard. Yep. Thank you for the article. So why do we have this problem in the first place? Well, first off, it all comes back to Silver Lake, if you hadn't realised. So part of the deal to get Silver Lake across the ground, over the line, and for the New Zealand Rugby Players Association to agree to it, was that New Zealand Rugby had to do a governance review, which not a bad idea necessarily. So they did a review, and they got a reply back as to what it should be. Now then, the Pilkington report comes back and goes, "Boy, you're archaic. This is how you should do it." So New Zealand Rugby goes, "Quite right. We're archaic, but we shouldn't do it that way. We should do something like that, but change it slightly because you know what? We want to do it our way instead." I mean, you pay for a review, you pay for experts to tell you how to do things, and you get what comes back and go, "We don't like that. We're going to do it our way." So funnily enough, the Players Association are like, "What the hell? What are you doing, boys? That's wrong." So they're up in arms at the moment about it as well. The provinces, which the Pilkington report had a pretty good piece in there, where it was like, who votes for all the people to come onto the board, and it involved a couple of people being voted by the New Zealand Rugby Council, essentially the what's the other one for the provincial unions. So New Zealand Rugby goes, well, you know what? We don't like these provincial unions having any input into this, so we're going to shift that bit to the side and massage it a little bit so they don't get any say, really. We like to tell provincial unions what to do. It's been pissed us off the last 100 years. We've had to be under their votes. They had to vote about us. This is not right. So obviously the provincial unions then look at what New Zealand Rugby come back with and go, well, that's a bit crap. No, we want to have more say. We want some rugby people in there, because rugby people have run things so well so recently. God. And so now there are three different versions of how this should be. One that's been done by professional people who New Zealand Rugby appointed in the first place, but didn't like what they said. New Zealand Rugby's one. And funnily enough, provincial unions not liking what New Zealand Rugby said and coming back again. So there's a special general meeting coming up where there's going to be a bit of a vote. And apparently the what's her role? I can't remember now. Anyway, whoever the head honcho is, because it's not CEO, because CEO is the person who does the weekly, a chairperson. The chairperson said, if you don't vote for this, then I'm sorry, but this is what I think we should do. And if you don't want to do what I think we should do, I'm going to leave, because I'm not going to do what which to be honest, is fine. If she doesn't want to try and implement something she doesn't agree with, which I get. So we'll see what happens at that general meeting. Now, obviously, that general meeting is voted on by the provincial unions. New Zealand Rugby Players Association, who started this whole thing off, have no say whatsoever. I just have to watch on from the sidelines going, this is a shit show. Yes, but you know what? You knew it was going to be a shit show, because that's why you asked for a governance review in the first place. It's a mess. and we'll see what happens next. But I thought that it was a good article that sort of, as I said, pulled all those sort of things together as to kind of what the history behind it was. I've forgotten that it was all down to the Players Association going, you guys aren't run very well. So if you want ROK for you to take a bunch of money that you won't spend well and give away income for the rest of forever onwards, then you need a governance review so you do spend it well. Oh dear.
That went well.
That went well, exactly. Now I know you don't give a shit about this kind of stuff, so we can move on if you like.
Too much politics. No.
So another article that came out.
Take my hit of disappointment. That's what it is.
Another article that came out. Now, where was it? I can't remember where it was now, but it was kind of like a, how do we fix Super Rugby? You're like, oh my God, here we go again.
Oh, geez, not this again.
And the answer to this is to apparently change the structure. Oh, it's in Rugby Pass. Is to change the structure of Super Rugby, because you know what? Changing the structure of Super Rugby has solved the problem so many times before.
I got no words. I mean, all you do is shake your head. Like, who's worse? Is Stanzo worse, or whatever they call themselves now? Or it useless.
All right. So this journalist reckons, you know what we need to do? We need to merge with the Japanese One League. And it's like, you know what? We've kind of vaguely said that before. That actually, I've said this before. That from a time zone point of view, Japan sits better with New Zealand and Australia than South Africa does. So you know what? Yep. Having some Super Rugby teams in Japan, not such a bad idea. Mm-hmm. His other thing, players can play for any team within Super Rugby and still be selected for the All Blacks. We've said that before. Yes, that's fine. Team players playing across Australia play for the All Blacks. So those sort of things, not necessarily bad ideas. Will that fix Super Rugby? No. What will fix Super Rugby is engaging fans with the teams and getting fans to actually care about what the hell their teams are doing and even knowing that their team's playing this weekend. Okay?
I think for 2 cents worth, the problem isn't the sport, right?
No.
They're trying to fix the sport by changing teams, formats, and that sort of thing. It's not the sport. It's not what's happening on the field. Okay, the structure is confusing, but that goes back to what you just said. That's the engagement. It's getting people to the grounds and getting people involved in their team. That's the problem. It's not, it's not the actual what's happening on the field. Is actually, like this year especially, has been really, really good. But why are people not engaging with it so much? That is the problem. So you've got a good product, but people are still not locking into it. That's the issue I've got with it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the products. Review is saying, don't play some teams twice and others once. It's imbalanced. Mate.
Format.
The biggest league in the world, NFL, does that. All right? They have imbalance, and they have no problem with people turning up and selling tickets.
Yeah, but the NFL's got structure, though. Because
I agree.
You've got leagues within leagues.
This we're complaining about the structure again, right? This kind of, they play some teams. Who cares? We don't really care about whether they play one team or two teams. The average fan doesn't give a shit.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. So so look, it doesn't matter. That's not what matters. What matters here is the marketing and the selling of the team and the public engagement with them. Right? That's what the problem here is in this sport. It is not with, as I say, with all this. It's not about what the structure is. People are asking for the articles. I've plugged it in the live chat for you guys. So it's nothing. Are tickets affordable? It's not about affordability of tickets either. Sorry, because you compare it to going to the cinema and stuff. It's no more expensive than taking your kids to the cinema.
No one goes to those either, though. To be fair.
Okay. Look for us. I mean, it's a philosophical point. Sure, we can have philosophical points but at the end of the day, if people are engaged with their teams, then the structure doesn't matter too much, right? It does matter if it's totally unfair, but at the moment, it's not a that's not the big that's not the big problem. As you say, the product is fine. We're getting good games, getting exciting games. We've had 2 games go to overtime and have been decided in the so far this season. The bottom teams are beating the top teams. Now, okay, yes, we are getting blowouts. Absolutely, there are some lopsided games, but every league every competition in the world has blowouts. It doesn't help. The administrators don't help themselves by putting 4 lopsided games on, or 3 lopsided games, only 1 competitive game in a week, like there was last week. But then this week suddenly we got 3 upsets out of 4 games. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my multi and my TAB betting went out the window. So the product is fine. It's the marketing of the product. It's the engagement of the people. It's actually caring about your fans. We hear New Zealand Rugby come out and go, oh, it's fantastic this year. More people are watching on TV. And immediately you just put your head in your hands and go, no. Get more people in the grounds, and more people will watch on TV because of that. Seeing a game with empty grounds looks shit. Mm-hmm. The history of the game with unions is being minimised. Really? I'm not sure about that. Sorry, you're talking about provincial unions. Yes, it is. Funny how the NRL, a fully professional league, exploits its past so well. Exactly. You do in cycling. Why are there 5 races throughout the year that call the monuments, one-day races, and they're the biggest races? Why? They only last one day like all the rest. Why? Because they've got 100 years of history and reason for people to want to be involved, to want to watch them. That's why. And they bring up their history. They talk about the history all the time. Super Rugby, we've now got 25, 30 years of history, right? We've got history there if we actually mine it and use it properly, but we don't. And so, anyway, rant over. We should get on some games, actually, so we're now 45 minutes in.
One thing.
Yep.
What do you make, quickly, since we're on the news show, what do you make about all this hate that's going on now? Or hate, kind of is hate about the bonus point, the golden point or extra time decider now. I've seen a lot of articles this week already after we had the Crusaders Waratahs game that it should be done away with. I mean, why would you want to do away with it? It was an exciting game. It ended with an exciting finish. You got an extra 3-4 minutes of the game, decided a winner. It was exciting. It was fun. And it encourages that thing we never use in New Zealand, a drop goal. You know, another part of the game that you typically don't see too often if you play outside of England and you don't see George Ford or Johnny Wilkinson in your time. You know, I kind of think it brings a whole new aspect to the game about using your squad as in your substitutes. If it's a close game, do you go early? You know, it brings a lot more to the game. I don't understand why there's all this hate against it now, unless I'm just reading Cantabrian articles. What's your take?
I think there's a certain element of we live in New Zealand and therefore New Zealand side lost an overtime, hence it's shit, right? Yes. We didn't get this earlier in the year when the Hurricanes beat the Rebels, was it?
Reds.
Oh, the Reds.
Super round, yep.
No, it didn't happen then, did it? No. This is because an Australian team, shock horror, has beaten a New Zealand team. How dare they? That's just not allowed. The only thing I would change is that I would say that both the losing team in golden time gets 2 points as though it was a draw. Competition.
Okay, like hockey does in NHL.
Yeah, so you both get 2 points, and then you get an extra 2 points if you win extra time, plus whatever bonus points. That's the only thing I would change. Otherwise, absolutely fine with it. So to me, yeah, no.
I do agree though, because you didn't see it in the Fiji game either. There's been a number of extra time games already, and there's been nothing, and now there's like intense, like, oh, this is garbage. No, sorry. I mean, all the extra time games this season have been incredible. Like the finishes have been like, whoa. I'm so glad I didn't miss out on that. And yeah, I do agree with our reviewer's comment. Internationals, no, different, whole different story. But yeah, Super Rugby, it's supposed to be fun. It's entertaining. It's supposed to be, that sort of excitement, right? And look, it's great.
If there's a draw after extra time, you both get 2 points each. So that's why I think the losing team should get at least something for drawing at full time. But that's a minor tweak rather than saying it's shit. No, it's good. It's actually a good thing. Now, why do we not want it for internationals? Because we have 140 years of history where we haven't had that in internationals. Now, do we want it in the Rugby World Cup in knockouts? Well, clearly you have to have it for knockout games, right? Sure. But as far as a test match means something. That's why it's called a test, rather than just it's not a friendly. It's a test of your ability to play. It's not a friendly game. It's a test, which is the difference between where football, they call friendlies. They don't really give a shit, right? International friendlies, no one really cares in football. But in rugby, those games matter. And sometimes they matter more than a rugby championship game at the end of the day. Do we care more about New Zealand playing Ireland in a November game than we do necessarily maybe an away game against Argentina or whatever? We expect to win that away game versus Argentina, whatever. But perhaps but less so now. But or a home game against Argentina. But that game against Ireland in Dublin, everyone will have their TVs on because that's at the moment. Now, clearly, it will change which country. Sometimes it was against England 20 years ago. It'll be against France sometimes. But at the moment, it's Ireland because they're number one, or they've been around number one, or whatever. Or so to me, that is the is that one here as well.
I do like the fact that saying no kickable penalty and starting from a scrum, but I do like the fact that none of these, from memory, the golden point games or extra time games so far, Hurricanes were decided by a try, Drua was a drop goal, and now Waratahs, there's been no penalties, which you normally be like, hey, grind them down, do something to try and milk a penalty from a ruck. There's been none of that, which I think's been even more encouraging, right? We're actually getting those exciting in-play finishes rather than just boring holding out for a penalty somewhere along the way, which haven't been happening like they have in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I get the argument of having golden try rather than golden point.
Yeah,
so I can understand
like drop goal.
But drop goals are cool. But yeah, you're not allowed to kick penalties. You can have a penalty, but you're not allowed to kick sticks. I would say no penalties kicking at sticks in overtime. So I'd get rid of that. You can't win by a penalty kick. You can win by a drop goal, and you can win by a try. You can win in open play. You can't win in set play. Would be my kind of role on that one.
We should be on the board of World Rugby. I tell you what, man.
If they're not watching, they're losing out.
I can just see Beaumontosaurus sitting here watching this.
Oh dear. Should we have some rugby then?
Yeah, Super Rugby review, and it's 47 minutes in. We're just getting started.
Well, it's just a weekly show that we just happen to focus mainly on Super Rugby because I've given up watching European rugby now. I've slackened back, unfortunately. I'm a weak man. Anyway, let's move on then to Moana Pacifica versus the Reds. Now, again, that we picked for the Reds. Sorry,
do we have to?
We have. I'm afraid we do. Again, that we both picked Reds, I think, from memory. I know my TAB account did. But first off, real poor defense on the Reds' part to give Julian Surveyor his record try. Look, nothing against Julian, but look, the winger comes in because he doesn't trust the prop to make the tackle inside him. They had the numbers out there, and then that allows him to get in. And then basically we get to the cards at the end of the day. Dumb. Swinging arm in there. Not only did you lose a player for 20 minutes, but also they scored a try, which was disallowed. Then we get the red card. He started high and went higher. If you're going to start high with your tackle, don't drive upwards, mate. Because if you start at this high level and then go up again, I'm sorry, but you're just going to give yourselves a you're just asking for a red card. If you're going to start high, at least stay at that level or try and go down at that point. Don't drive upwards. Make it a passive tackle. Don't try and do a dominant tackle from that position because you're going to just get yourself sent off. And it was good to see. I mean, even so, Moana had to go all the way to the end because the conversion was after the hooter. Look, and let's be honest, we see Havili. He's a relatively lightweight fly half. He's not one of the ones. He's not like your kind of like your Johnny Wilkinson. Oh, he's a smasher fly half. He's a fly half who's sort of skillful and pass it around rather than a bash it through players. But boy, he stayed on his feet, and he was tackled about 5 meters out, or the first guy grabbed him about 5 meters out, but still kept his feet, and the persistence got him over the line. So cracking there by Moana, but boy oh boy, the Reds really shot themselves in the foot big time.
I mean, I have so many questions after that game, mainly revolving around what has happened to the Reds. I watched that game and I'm watching. I'm like, what are they doing differently? I think a key aspect, and like we already talked about, half an hour with only 14 men. And I did notice that the Reds, when they were a man down, they did very much go into their shell. A game where they had the 15 on the field, they were by far the better team. It just looked like, hey, they're going to score a try any second now, right? It looked like they were just going to dominate and score heaps of points. I mean, they never did.
No, at half time,
yeah,
it was 10-0. Moana won that first half, fair and square.
But they had a yellow card in the first half.
No yellow cards in the first half. So,
okay.
And then you come out after half time, bang, try. You get your red card. The guy comes back on. Bang, try again. When you say in the second half, something was said at half time that triggered the Reds, and they scored. It's like when there were 15 men after half time, boy, they were scoring points. But in the first half, Moana won that. Now Moana couldn't score again until the 79th minute. They only scored once in the second half, which was basically when the half was over. And by the way, Crusaders, if you want to see how to finish a game off, look and see what Mr. Havili does with his kick, right? But yes, so they were when they were at 15 in the second half, the Reds were better, but not in the first half, where Moana took a 10-0 lead, which is shocking.
That's points wise, performance wise. The Reds are all over that game. That's what I mean. They were looking like they were going to score all the time. When they had 15 men, they dominated, as in they were making breaks. You know, your Patayas and guys like that were just absolutely cleaning this game up. Whether your stats agree or disagree with me or not, what are they looking like first half, second half? Yeah, it's about the same. But look, they were really destroying it. It's when the cards came in, that's when they lost momentum. I reckon they just went, okay, let's just pack it in. We'll wait till we get the man back, and then we'll go back on the aggressive again. But look, Moana started well. They completely lost the plot in the middle, and then they finished well, right? The Reds, their own worst enemies, but the way that they played that game, they should have scored. They should have scored 30, 40 points, the way that they were all over it. I don't know. What do they say? What does it say for line breaks and things like that? Defenders beaten. I mean, yeah, they're just about double.
This is going to point what I was going to 29 defenders beaten. I saw 29 missed tackles by Moana, but only 2 breaks allowed, right? And that's what it is. That's scramble defense.
I mean,
right?
They'll rip them through them.
No, but the Reds missed 20 tackles and allowed 4 clean breaks. So Moana got more clean breaks than the Reds did, but Moana missed more tackles, which shows that Moana were, I think, their scramble defense in this one was pretty good in the fact that they would cover that missed tackle. I think they were working for each other better in this game than they have been in some of the other games, maybe that's I think that effort side. Also, that their discipline. I mean, yes, sure, there's the cards, but then again, there's also the penalties. 12 for the Reds, 6 by Moana. Moana weren't giving up easy yards. Reds had to work for all those yards, whereas Reds were getting themselves down there, giving up a penalty, and allowing Moana to clear their lines, or they were giving Moana place of free yards, which relieved that pressure and allowed them to get their scramble defense working again.
The Reds were their own worst enemy, to cap it up for me, outside of stats, from watching that game. But the thing is, for Moana, for me, if you want to look at their positives from that game, the fact that they weren't 30 points behind after half an hour. I mean, you talk about how they're probably playing a bit better for each other and more confident. That's probably the reason why, right? They're not down in the dumps. They're not like, oh, we're getting smashed again. It's really like, holy hell, we're actually, winning, We're actually winning. We have a chance. It would have pepped them up. They would have looked a bit more into it. They would have wanted to do more because they want to try and they're in a position to win a game. And then the Reds just, like you said, shot themselves in the foot and made it not easy for them, but certainly did help them along the way for sure in that. But yeah, the Reds, I don't know what it is with the Reds. That's my thing. They just lacked the continuity. Like I say, Pataya was ripping them up. Fluke was ripping them up. They were doing all these things with good, good breaks from players. But where was the support? Where was the guy, making a half break and the passing? It wasn't a team making the break. It was a player making the break. That's where the Reds, I thought, were missing a lot. Plus, I don't know what was up with Liner. I tried to find out why he was missing that game, whether he was just being rested or he was having a little niggly injury. But having McLaughlin Phillips start that game, I think, had a bit of an effect for them as well. And not having the man that had at the helm and the number 10 jumper for most of the season so far. So that had a bit of effect, but there was no link in there at all. So, yeah, just really poor from the Reds. And if they can sort that out, they can beat anyone. But until they sort that stuff out, they're not doing anything. Come on, you can't say they're not going to. This team on Song, when they fire, they are absolute fire. When they're not firing, they're garbage. And it bewilders me how players and a team of this caliber and the leadership, right? A team with Liam Wright, Fraser Wright, and Harry Wilson in your back row should never really get dominated at a ruck from R.A. Papuni, Jacob Norris, and Sione Havili is a quality enough player, but really still, is he on the level of those three guys? It's a pack, so much experience and quality.
You're playing him at 8. He's not an 8, right? He's more a 7 than an 8. So
what are we talking about?
Havili.
Oh yeah, but still, I'm just talking about quality level in the pack.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm saying, yeah, but also the imbalance. You're playing against an imbalanced back row. You've got a quality balanced back row. You guys should be controlling the breakdown massively.
And the fact they weren't even close. They were getting pumped by that. They didn't even have Blondie, who's been killing it all season, and I've forgotten his name as well. So, well done, Moana. They stuck in the fight. They got the confidence. And look, we all know Pacific Island teams with a bit of confidence behind them are going to be very hard to stop at the end. But really good try from Havili. He should never scored that. He got stood up in that tackle at the end there and still managed to fight his way through it and get it over. So, yeah, nice try. Well done, Moana. Reds, my concern is now, but at least say for the Highlanders, they could beat them next week. No Tate, no Fraser McWright. We'll give them a red card off. How about that?
Well, Fraser McWright and McDermott off. That helps. Look, Fluke, I think again is another player. I hope he's because he nearly injured himself trying to score one of those tries in his shoulder. So let's hope he's okay from that knock as well. I think he's been impressive this year as well there in that 13 jersey there. We say, yeah, Pataya ripping things up. Vunivalu, yeah.
No. The fact of the matter is that when Tate McDermott got the red card, Kalani Thomas, I think, was their replacement 9. They brought him on for Vunivalu, which, that tells you straight away, look, if there's a dispensable player in that back line, it is him. But look, if I'm the coach of the Reds after this game, I will make you watch that again and say, if you guys don't completely crap your pants and lose your marbles, you were the better team for all that match and literally just had to keep playing rugby and you would have won that game. The fact that you lost your head so much, not just the cards, but just in your way you were playing, your errors, and just your teamwork, that's why you lost that game. Sure, the cards shut the gate, but I even think if they get 15 men on that field for their second half, they win that game by at least 10 points. So, yeah, watch that game 16 times in the next week, Reds, and just learn some composure because, holy crap, you had absolutely none.
Then we came to a game that we said, you know what, folks, if the Crusaders want to make the playoffs, they've got players coming back, they've had 2 weeks, this is a game where they've got to get things on track and start pushing on. And they started well enough. Sever Reese scoring early. Clearly, by far, the best player for the Crusaders this year with that one. But the key thing here was the Tars scored back. And we've talked about this before, that actually Some teams, as long as you don't let yourself get 2 scores behind, as long as you keep scoring, you can keep yourself in it. I mean, just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think we had 14 changes of lead in this game. It was just nuts. It just went backwards and forwards. Now, it helps that Reece, they couldn't convert Reece's try. So immediately it becomes that uneven thing where it does bounce backwards and forwards. But the key thing for the Waratahs here, they didn't allow the Crusaders to score 2 points or 2 scores without them scoring, because they never got control of the game either themselves, and the Crusaders kept themselves in it as well. Rob Penny is starting to bring out the best in the Tars these days. Ouch. With this one, I mean, look, the Crusaders missed 30 tackles in this game. That is a massive number. The Waratahs were much better with 25. Let's be honest. 6 clean breaks each. So this was one of these ones where, not the defense. The defense clearly wasn't optional. It's never optional for these guys. They are trying, but it was one of these games where, we're going to score more than you, kind of thing. And unfortunately, there's a certain guy in a number 10 jersey that has come into this. Now, remember, he is like 5th choice 10 jersey for the Crusaders, Hohepa, and missing those two conversions. That essentially is the difference between his teams in the end. Now, aside with the names that the Crusaders have, should they be relying on that? Should it be down to a missed kick is why we lose the game? No. So it's tough on the guy, but that's what it's going to come down to as part of the review is if we made those kicks, we win the game, because a certain player in the other 10 jersey made every single one of his kicks, and with Ed Med making every kick, and then Harrison when he came on, they won the game.
My boy, man, Will Harrison. I told you, good to be back. 2 years out, poor lad. What is this? A knee, rip his knee apart. A year off, rip his knee apart again. Come back again. 2 years, man. That's justification for Will Harrison. What a fantastic player he is. Like, all that pressure, man, on a guy that hasn't played. He's had 2 or 3 games after a 2-year layoff. Oh, what a guy. Absolutely, what a superstar. I mean, look, I was a huge Will Harrison fan before he got that first injury and just disappeared. So I'm so glad to see him coming back and absolutely rocking it. But, boy, these Crusaders, man, you nailed it right at the start. You said not letting a team get above more than 2 scores. And you know why they didn't let a team get above 2 scores? It's because every time the Crusaders scored, they would screw up the restart clearance and just give a chance straight back to the Waratahs, and then they'd score. What would happen? They'll just effectively screw up and exit. So neither side could really effectively start themselves out of a restart of the game. They couldn't get themselves going. They couldn't get good field territory. They got locked down. They conceded. It was a seesawing battle of 2 sides that really couldn't control a kickoff. Ultimately, in the end, the defense, very optional, terribly, terribly optional. But Sevu Reece, I've written down on my notes for this game, Sevu Reece is a one-man team. Without Sevu Reece in that Crusaders team, they would be so much worse off. If he is not one of the best performing players, and maybe he looks better because he's in a poorly performing team, but he is everywhere. He's on the wing, he's at midfield, he's playing scrum half, he's at fullback, and then he's making tackles. Literally, the guy just does absolutely everything all season long. So, man, they've got to look after Sevu Reece. He is going to be so critical. But overall, that was, to me, Crusaders disappointing. Getting those players back all that week off, and not really getting anywhere better than what they were beforehand. It's like, why bring those guys back then? Are they better off with the guys they've been trundling with all season? Sure, you score 40 points, but to concede 40 at the same time. I mean, how often have you seen a 40-40 draw? That's a point a minute throughout that game. That is crazy. And what was extra time was only a few minutes too, right? So you can probably safely say that was a point a minute with extra time as well throughout that. So, yeah, a really, really crazy, crazy match, but well played to the Waratahs. They are continuing to get better and better, right? And it's good to see still more players keep on coming through that system and are performing well for the Waratahs. So, yeah, good on them. 2 wins in a season. Who have they beaten? Just the Crusaders. That's all. They don't need to beat anyone else. Just beat the Crusaders. So, yeah, a really cool match. Exciting. I mean, when you're watching a match like that at, what was it, 11 p.m. or something, you don't sleep very well straight after that. It doesn't even matter if you support the Waratahs or the Crusaders. It don't matter. It was just so very exciting. So, yeah, fun to watch. And great to see Will Harrison, kicking ass again, right back from injury. Good on him.
I mean, that is, there's some nut stats in there. I'm first going to step up, though, on Sevu Reece, who has become the record try scorer, or record equal try scorer for the Crusaders, with 52 tries. To put that into kind of all-time records, Julian Surveyor is now at 62. So he's only 10 behind Julian. And it feels like Julian's been playing a lot longer than he has. Let's be honest. Yeah, now, to be fair, Julian went off to France for a few years as well. But this doesn't even put him in the top 10. But actually, we'll come back to... Actually, we'll talk about it now, because everyone knows that TJ Pirinar scored a try as well. So currently, Julian and TJ are the top try scorers in Super Rugby on 62 each. But you look at the other guys at the top there. Flau, Howlett, Ralph, Roth, Nonu, Cullen, Habana, Sterling, Mortlock. So we're talking...
prime rugby time, Matt.
Sorry?
Prime rugby time, Matt.
Well, yes, but we go through that. Flau fullback, Howlett winger, Ralph winger, Roth winger, Nonu centre, Cullen fullback, Habana winger, Mortlock centre, right? Mm-hmm. TJ is the only scrum half who's even in the conversation. So to be, which I think is pretty impressive, that for a position that doesn't, or that shouldn't be there, the fact that he's at the top of the pile there with Julian. Now, he didn't bugger off to France for a few years like Julian did, but so Julian would probably be another 5 or 6 ahead of him if he hadn't done that. But even so, I think actually I know we're not big fans of TJ being an All Black at the moment, all right? I'm not saying he should be, but I'm saying as far as his career goes, that he's very good. Cody Taylor apparently has 42 tries. He's way back, 20 tries less than TJ. But TJ always tracks at the middle from the break on the outside. That's his job. That's what he's supposed to be doing. And that's what we saw Cortez Ratma do very well as well in that same game. And then threw a pass that got a very nice assist from the Hurricanes player as he tried to block the pass and knock it back to him. But even so, that's what scrum halves. It just shows he actually has been at the top of his game for so long. But yeah, no, I wouldn't have him in the All Blacks conversation. But I do think there should be a little bit of a hat tip there on that side of things of his try scoring record.
It's the ultimate position to be a greedy prick, though, isn't it? A scrum half. It's like, if you really want to beat that record, TJ, just who needs a backline, buddy? Just go yourself. It's like, you get one chance every 2 phases. It's all up to you where you want to go. So, it's in your control. What I really loved about Sevu Reece's record, though, I don't know if you're going to bring it up, but the fact that he passed Caleb Ralph, or equaled, with Caleb Ralph, who played 122 matches for the Crusaders to get those 52 tries. And Sevu Reece has played 66, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines. So he's played just over half of what Caleb Ralph's played, and he's equal on tries. Sevu's going to absolutely smoke that. It's going to be Sevu Reece at the end of his career, 90 tries, Caleb Ralph 52. Will Jordan will probably chip in there as well at some point. But yeah, it's just astronomical difference of games played. And even the rest of them, the Crusaders are very forward dominant. You mentioned Cody Taylor. There was a few forwards in that top 5 list for the Crusaders. But yeah, match-wise, they've all literally smoked Sevu Reece for matches. So he is prolific. There's no question about it. And he'll be in that conversation at the end of his career. No doubt about that. And he missed most of last year too, didn't he, with that injury? So what a player.
Yeah, Caleb Ralph also picks up 3 tries from 3 games for the Chiefs and 3 tries from 6 games for the Blues, which is why he's on my list at 58. But why at 56... Not 58. No, hang on. Whatever it was. Anyway, whatever it was that Reece went equal. 52 that Reece equaled. So yes. But that explains the 6 difference between us. If you're trying to go, they've got their stats wrong. No, we haven't. But there's different stats. There's lies, and there's statistics, as I say.
Swing it however you want it to sound.
Yep. But yeah, look, Will Harris, the call he showed for those 2 kicks was big. I do need to corrections corner quickly. Rehana did miss one of those kicks where they weren't both on Hohepa, to be fair to him. Rehana obviously coming back from injury as well. But as you say, you bring these players back from injury, you're supposed to be stepping up. This is where you need to start winning. Otherwise, you ain't making the playoffs. Now, are they still in with a shout at the playoffs? Absolutely. We're just over halfway. Moana Pacifica currently is in 8th place with 3 wins. Right, they're only the Crusaders only need 2 wins to catch up with that. Now, we've been talking about how bad, or there's been lots of media and press about how bad Moana are and do they deserve a place in this competition? Yada yada yada. Moana Pacifica have won more games this season than the last 2 seasons. They've won more. They won 1 game in their first season, 2 games last year. They've won 3 this year. They're doing better than they've ever done before. And people are oh, they don't deserve to be here. Come on, guys. They've won more games than the Waratahs, the Highlanders, the Crusaders, and the Force so far this season. So give them a break. They're in the playoffs, for fuck's sake, at the moment. Look, yes, they have given up a competition leading 303 points on defence. They've got the worst points difference in the competition, 140. They do need to sort that out. The defence really does. Because if we go back 2 years to 2022, the first year that Drew and Moana Pacific were in this competition. Oh, sorry, no, they won 2 in 2022 and 1 in 2023. In the first year, Fijian and Drew minus 257, Moana Pacific minus 247, as in points difference. Last year, Fijian and Drew minus 122, Moana Pacifica minus 256. They hadn't really improved. Whereas you could see that the Drua made a big step up. We're better than the Force as well in that one. This year, the Drua minus 34, the Moana Pacifica minus 140. They both won 3 games, but the Drua are much closer in those games. They're losing. Moana Pacifica are just getting blown off the park. And that's where the problem, I think, really lies, and how they need to improve on that side of things.
You know what? Will help Moana? A home stadium.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, if you do know for future reference, I don't know if you're going to mention this in the future, but this round coming up, they are actually playing in what's the name of the stadium?
Seminole Stadium. Yep.
No. They're playing the Highlanders. It might not be this round. They're playing the Highlanders in Tonga. Yeah, sorry, in round 11 in Taiwhaiva Stadium. Now, please tell me, some logical person, because I've been raving about this for 2 days now, why is every Moana game not at Taiwhaiva Stadium in Tonga? Why?
2 reasons.
Logical reason. Yes.
Well, first off, until very recently, it hasn't even been World Rugby standard has been, and so Tonga weren't allowed to host home internationals for a long time until I think last year.
It got destroyed. They rebuilt it and then it got destroyed by a typhoon. I get
that,
but it's up to standard now. So
I know it's tough on them, but essentially the main reason is that it's not a Tongan and Samoan team, right? It is a team. Whilst yes, I know it's centered around those. It's a South Auckland team. Who are the key people behind it? The key people behind it are Mr. Jones and a Mr. Brian Williams, right? 2 Pacific Islander All Blacks. At the end of the day, they're the guys behind it, and that's why it's in their backyard.
Dumb.
Which is they do need to have a home stadium now. Whether it's in Tonga, whether it's in Whangarei, whether it's in Pocono down in Cairns Manukau Stadium, I don't really care. And actually, Northland would be a good place for them. Northland have got fantastic training facilities. Why? Because New Zealand Rugby invested in them for the Women's Rugby World Cup that was held there. It was held there and in Auckland. So they've got proper training facilities, a really good setup that's been funded for that Rugby World Cup. So it's a great place for them to train, and they could build There's no competition for crowds, so go for it. But choose one place. Stop moving around. North Auckland is perhaps the worst place for them to be. It's a stadium, that was converted for baseball, from being a rugby stadium, a rugby and football stadium, got converted to baseball, and then the baseball team went bust. And so now Auckland Council have got this stadium that's not suitable for any sport that anybody wants to play. They've got to put somebody in, and that's why Moana Pacifica ended up there, right? So basically, Auckland Council is looking for somebody to bloody play there. Otherwise, they've got this total big white elephant that gets used for 7 NPC games a year, and that's it, because no one else wants to be in there. So it's a horrible place to be. It's what are the nationalities on what are the immigrant nationalities on the North Shore? They're South African, right? It's the wrong place to be, folks. I mean, if you for the audience that they're trying to connect with, you've got to either be in South Auckland or be somewhere like Northland. But North Shore is the worst place, perhaps in the country for them to be, as far as sensible places. Anyway, sure, you could put them down in New Plymouth or somewhere like that, or over in Gisborne. But I mean, yeah, clearly there are worse places they could be. But that is no, just me. As far as population base, standard stadium, that sort of thing is what I'm talking about here. Not about how the quality of the places. But I mean, Gisborne doesn't even have an NPC team, right? So it doesn't even have. So it hasn't got a proper stadium for them to be in. Whereas up in Northland, as I say, they've got proper infrastructure up there that's been set up recently. So hell, set up there, or go somewhere like Pocono where you're going to fill that stadium every time, and you still need a proper supporter base.
And never go back to Eden Park ever. Ever.
Look, Eden Park is a horrible stadium. I'm not been to Wellington Stadium, but I imagine the one in Wellington is pretty similar. You're trying to fit a stadium to have cricket and rugby. It doesn't work. Rugby is a rectangular sport. Cricket is an oval sport. If you have an oval stadium, your fans are too far away from the ground, from the pitch. So stop trying to be a compromise. Have purpose stadium for the purpose they were meant to be used for, and hence why the Warriors do not want to leave Mount Smart. Again, it's a proper stadium for the kind of sport they're playing. It needs updating. It's not as good as it could be, but they do a lot of things right there. And yeah, Eden Park it's too big. It's the wrong shape. The crowd just gets lost. Yeah.
Starting a petition for Moana to move to Tonga. There we go.
Sorry, yeah. Tars beat the Crusaders. Wow, fantastic. Well done. But yeah, if you look at that list, sorry, we've got to run through this list, haven't we? Because as you pointed out, the Tars won 2 games this season, both against the Crusaders. They've lost to the Reds. They've lost to the Highlanders, the Blues, the Drua, and the Rebels. And next up, and also the Brumbies. And next up, they're hosting the Chiefs. So, yeah, this record of only beating those teams only beating one team is fantastic. Well over time, but Hurricanes versus the Chiefs in this one. Look, TJ, we've talked about this already, equaling that try scoring record. Cortez Ratama quickly answers back, and then basically the Hurricanes take control. The commentators mentioned that when Norway scores his try, like, oh, this puts the Chiefs back in it. They're still 2 scores behind. The Hurricanes really kept them, got that 2-score lead, and make the Chiefs play a style they don't want to play, make them try and force the game, which we've talked about in previous weeks. So yeah, Hurricanes playing some great rugby. Get out the traps early, get yourself a 2-score lead, and then just make the opposition do what they don't want to do. It's a brilliant formula.
I'll be swift. I have 4 points from this game. That's all I want to take out. Hurricanes are the best. Good to see the Chiefs losing. But look, my 4 points this game, the set piece power, strong,
Yes.
immense. That was the real catalyst here for the Hurricanes for this one. Penalties were key. Taking threes, building a lead, playing like proper rugby, right? That's what they kind of did. It was almost like it was test match rugby, right? That made a big difference. I'm talking for the Chiefs in the way that they played in this game as well. Hurricanes only picked up that one penalty through Brett Cameron. Speaking of Brett Cameron, under pressure. He had a lot of pressure kicks in this game. And what did he do? He was really good. Number 10, black jersey. Screw you, D-Mac. You're out of here. He's my man. Cameron is my man. Point number 3, Amua. Oh, now the Crusaders Amua made a couple of good plays in that game. Did you notice that? He actually made a good pass that led to a try. He touched the ball a few more times. But this Amua here at the Hurricanes, he had his best game that I've seen for an incredibly long time. The second 40 especially, he was incredible. Breaking tackles, making runs, looking like that guy we saw 6 years ago when he was destroying players at lower levels. That was really what I took from that match from him. A massive match, a huge game if he wants to take his career higher to the next level. That's massive. But my last point, and I left this one to last because I just want to leave this one with you. This is a direct quote from the commentary from this game, okay? Direct quote. I wrote it down. I put speech bubbles around it and everything, okay? Near the end of the game, probably like midway when the game was kind of close before the Canes put it to bed with my man Arbua doing the job. McKenzie, at his very best, laterally taking on defenders. I threw shit out the window. Literally a quote from the commentary. McKenzie at his very best, lateral taking on defenders. Piss off. It's trash. Like you want a little scrawny 10, that's not a very good 10, running sideways, taking on defenders. Oh, brilliant. Chiefs can go fall off a tree. I hope McKenzie has trouble. Look, again, a team that has a decent performing pack, like we questioned at the start of the season, dominate them in set piece. How effective was McKenzie in that game? Not very effective.
I've got to say, yeah. Look, this you
Reds,
don't talk,
Hurricanes wrecked them.
You don't talk about the Hurricane. You don't think of the Hurricanes as having a tight 5, and to dominate a Chiefs team at scrum time like they did here was really impressive. That's how the Hurricanes got their first 2 tries. That's how they laid the whole platform for this win. The second part, now that I got totally wrong earlier, was about keeping 2-score lead. That's bollocks. Because after half time, actually, the Chiefs did go into a 17-23 lead. Okay, after Narwaya's try. Now, I thought he was very calm. A lot of people would have just got over the line and put it down.
Oh,
he actually went towards the posts, and I thought, look, he is a guy who's playing. Yeah, he's got a good rugby brain in him, and he's really playing. Is really thinking well. So I think Narwaya obviously missed out on the All Blacks because of back injury last year. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in there as well. I think he's playing well and playing intelligent rugby there, which for the casual racism folks, we don't normally say. You'll find a lot of commentators won't say that about Fijian and Pacific Islander players because they've either got the pace, they've got the pace, they've got the power, but they're not thinking. They don't talk about the thinking side. I thought he had the whole kind of and the calmness, the knowing the situation, seeing where he was, and putting it down was very good. And then oh yes, well we forgot to talk about something at the end of the anyway. And then finally, how did the Canes win this one? They won this in bench time, right? If you look at this after so D-Max Norway was trials on 50 minutes. And then from 58 minutes to the end, the Canes scored 3 tries. Right? When does the bench come on? Around about 60 minutes. So bench time, they dominated, and that shows their depth, which again is another thing we haven't said about the Canes historically. As we've said, tight 5 and depth. Their first 15, especially the razzle dazzle at the back, but to have the depth come on, and then to finish things off, I thought was very impressive. For the Canes.
Yeah, I mean overall that that was a perfect performance from the Hurricanes for me. I thought they played a real smart, clever, thought out sort of game throughout. I thought they beat the Chiefs in all the areas that we typically don't give the Hurricanes at being good at, if that makes any sort of sense. Set piece, forwards, composure, and not getting flustered, which is sort of composure. But as it got close and through that second half, where you would expect, to me, if McKenzie's the guy that they're all beaten up to be about, that's the stage of a game that I want a player like him to take control of. But we just didn't see it. We saw the Hurricanes take control of that part of the game. But yeah, we've seen a lot of players stand up for this Hurricanes team this year, especially in those forwards, which is really, really good. And hey, does that come back to what you said a few weeks ago about not having that pressure of throwing everything to one Mr. Savia and saying, I don't know what to do, you do it. Responsibility being spread out throughout. Guys like Peter Lakai have been amazing in that back row. Brady Nyossi has been phenomenal. Even Walker Lerere, who I loved a few years ago, thought he was a really good up-and-coming talent and kind of just got to a point and thought, yeah, I'm happy here, and just sat there. So, guys like that are starting to actually stand up. Mua, please do that again next week, and the next week, and the next week. That's what made him, hey, you're an All Black prospect. You deliver that to the table, you'll be back in that black jersey without a shadow of a doubt. But really good. Back to news, though. Rumours apparently that Josh Morby is, since we're on the Hurricanes, potentially being signed to go overseas. And I can't remember where I read it he was going to. But yes, he's going overseas as well. Potentially. Rumours, not confirmed in any state. But yeah, so that, a bit of a loss for the way he's played this year. But, as a former Southern Stag, good on him. Take the money and run. Let's see how quick he can go to find out where he's supposedly going to. What the rumours say.
No, it hasn't jumped out at me as to where he's going. I've got Democrats and Maria Moscovich.
Montpellier. That's it. I literally wrote Josh Morby Montpellier.
Montpellier, okay.
He's signed. He's actually signed. I read it as a rumor. He signed 10 hours ago. A 2-year deal with Montpellier. It's done. Okay, I thought it was a rumor. Apparently, it is 100% confirmed. Yeah, there you go.
And at 25, obviously Severis is clearly banged on to one of those All Black swing spots. We're talking a lot about Sean Stevenson. You've got Jordan, Will Jordan as well. I could see that there's a bit of a queue ahead of him. So why not? He's looked very good this season. Let's be blunt. I'd and Talia as well, obviously at the Blues. So yeah, I could see him looking ahead of himself. Saying, yeah, there's a bit of a queue there, and there's money overseas. Go for it, absolutely.
And he's getting a lot of not easy, but a lot of people inside him are doing the hard work, and he's like, credit to him, like he's right place, right time guy. But that's the sort of player he is. He's not he does a lot of stuff out of the can, but a lot of the time it's just like, hey, we've made a big bust here. We've got a 2-on-1 overlap with the fullback. Who's there? It's Josh Morby, right? And he's a good finisher. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. In terms of his career, he's looking at this and saying, is my time or is my value going to get any higher than this? And I'd agree. I think he's probably at peak value right now to cash in. Yeah, so good on him.
Yep. So yes, not lots of other, but yeah, we need to rewind quickly to the Crusaders game, because look, Rivers Reihana, if he takes 3 seconds more with his conversion, they win the game.
That's right.
Yes. So look, which is what William Havili did with with Moana. He scored in real time, but made sure his conversion was after the hooter had gone. Whereas Rivers Reihana didn't do that. Now look, this is Rivers' first full season as kind of a starting or main at this kind of level. Yes, he's had a couple of kind of fringe years with the Chiefs, I think. But this is his first sort of proper year, so I can understand him sort of missing that. But I think he'll be sat down and had a quiet chat with him about that next time. Look, mate, keep an eye on the clock. Keep that game awareness. This is what you're there for. It's part of your. This is a main part of your job. That game awareness. And you need to have it, because we lost that game because you didn't take 2 or 3 seconds more.
I think he was hard done by the referee in that game, because the referee said to him, there's your shot clock, up on the big screen, like they have the shot clock up there, was more than the game clock. And he stood there, literally almost did a Finn Russell, catching those long kicks, standing around waiting for everyone to not be onside. And the referee goes, "Come on, mate, hurry up, go, kick it," like 4 times. And so I guess as a younger, more probably intimidated guy for the referee, he chopped it over. So that kind of, to me, falls back on the fact that, like, can the referee, now they've introduced that shot clock, can the referee say, "Hurry up and take your kick"? Because he can say, "Piss off, I've got 16 seconds left." So I agree, but was he pressured and forced into taking that kick quicker before the referee because he knew he was just standing there loitering around? But can you blame him when the fact of the matter is that your forwards can't control a kickoff, take one ruck, and kick the ball into touch?
Oh, no. It's look, okay. If a game comes down to one decision like that, as a team, you've not done what you should do, right?
Mm-hmm.
If anything comes down to one decision, you should not be leaving a game down to one decision. You should not be asking the referee to make a decision in your way than the other. Not turn right, 90 seconds is too long to take conversion. It's what the law is, right? At the end of the day. Now, look, I can understand the referee doing that because referees have been told, speed up the game, right? So he's been told to do that. He's been given directions on that. So I'm not going to say that the referee here was biased to the task to try and get the time up or whatever. No, referees have been told, speed up the game. So I can understand why he was doing it. But equally, River Rehana is in his rights to go, "No, mate, I've got time." And he'll learn from this one and come back from a better player. And hopefully it is. He gets a quiet conversation like, "Hey, mate, look, this is what you do next time," rather than in the team review getting actually ripped to shreds. Now, if he does that, then it's how they talk to him now as to how he develops from going onwards. Because look, he's a young kid. We can't blame him. You cannot blame him too much. But yeah, that's what they've got to. How they've got to how they should handle it.
I kind of feel like it was his own worst fault in a little way too, because it was right in front of the sticks and he teed it up, stood back, and just waited. I mean, you could have just pissed around setting it up. "Oh, I dropped the ball." Make it look like you're actually still trying to take the kick, rather than just standing up there and going, "I'm watching the clock, mate." But again, I mean, you shouldn't have to. But I mean, if that was TJ Perenara taking that conversion, how different would that have been? Like a different personality of experience, that sort of stuff. Imagine that he would have ripped him to shreds.
Oh, look, I mean, TJ Perenara tells the referee what reminds the referee when he misses things, right? Exactly. He's got he knows he can do it, and whereas you say a younger guy, it's
dump that on the forwards. That was the forwards' fault. Take the kick off, hit a ruck, kick a ball out.
Final game then of the round: Rebels versus the Highlanders, and we were asked last week as to which is the most impressive team so far this season, and the most impressive team again compared to what we expected of them is the Rebels. Let's be blunt. They are. And this just does my head in. The Rebels are 4th in the table after this win. 3 wins on the bounce. I mean, what the hell are they doing up there? And people say, "Oh, look, they've played one more game than the Reds." They have, but they're also 7 points clear of the Reds. The Reds do not close that gap with the one game in hand, right? They're ahead of the Chiefs by right. They're ahead of the Reds, ahead of the Crusaders, ahead of the with the Waratahs by right. They do not have the funds of the Waratahs. They do not have the resources of the Waratahs. The Waratahs won 2 games. The Rebels have won 5. They both played the same number of games. So, sure, how you can be 4th in the table and have a negative points difference of 17. You've won 5, you've lost 3, and you've got a negative points difference. Okay. So clearly, that's perhaps not. They've not picked up any losing bonus points like because of that. Because when they get beat by a big amount. But they also the Hurricanes lead the table on try bonus points. Second, on equal points with them with 4 are the Rebels with 4 dry bonus points. I mean, this is not what this team is supposed to have done. This is not what they're this is not where they're supposed to be coming into this season. They're supposed to be down the bottom, wondering have they got jobs next year. The thing is supposed to be falling apart. It's supposed to be a mess. But boy, oh boy, they really have they really have performed well this year.
We said at the start of the season, didn't we? This Rebels team is going to go one of two ways. They're going to fall apart like a cookie you've not cooked too long enough in the oven, or it's going to galvanize them as a team. And I think they were crumbling. I think they were at the start of this. They were kind of together, but it was a bit dodgy. It was a bit shaky, right? And I think the last few weeks, obviously, results have certainly helped. But boy, they look like a completely different team now, don't they? They look like they actually, maybe the news of their potential survival might be something that's boosted them. Or you never know what's going on behind those closed doors. But they certainly look like a team, hey, probably not going to compete for the competition in the end, but they look like a team that's going to hold their own. And look, how can you say they're not going to make these playoffs now? They look galvanized. They look like they're really just giving that middle finger to Rugby Australia and going, screw you guys, eat some of this. You know, worst team in your competition, you're the second best team of all your four. So, hey, enjoy the force down the bottom of the table, and the Reds, they're falling apart like their team's getting kicked out next year. So, yeah, who's really got the troubles here? The Rebels are loving life, middle fingering everyone.
Yep, absolutely. We have another young winger in Lancaster. Boy, oh boy, hat trick and some individual skills as well. There's a kid who's going, this rugby is easy at this level. What's everyone worried about? Why is everyone saying the step up's hard? I'll show you. The Australia's got a rich supply of back three players at the moment. How he's going to pick them, I've got no idea. Who's going to pick for his squad, because there are just so many out there. You obviously got Toole at the Brumbies as well. He didn't play this weekend, but Lancaster said, "Hey, you know what? Don't forget me."
See, that would be ambitious, wouldn't it? Look, he played well. He looked exciting. But these are the sort of guys for me that need a couple of seasons before you're going to go chuck him straight into the deep end of international rugby, right? He looked good this year. Get that second season syndrome and see what he comes back with next year. I would go with guys that have done that, like your Tools. You know, he's done at least a couple of years. I'd want that little bit more of a safety net, you know, and not throwing too much at this kid at once. You know, keep his confidence. You know, see if he can the Rebels next year. If they're going to be here, he's certainly going to be somewhere. But fantastic talent, right? Sevens guy. They did question him and say, "Hey, what's it like having less space?" And he's like, "Well, I had just as much space in the Sevens game. So what's the difference?" So, you know, he's finding the space out there, and he's hard to stop. But boy, the Highlanders defense, you know, they might as well put a couple of turnstiles out there and just let them run through those instead. Probably would have put up more resistance. They didn't offer too much. I don't understand the Highlanders at the moment. The fact they scored a try before like the 55th minute mark, I'll put it, I was going to say 60, but they scored one at 56 too. But the fact they scored a try before the 50-minute mark shocked me. They just have lacked the ability to do it. And I mean, this game, look, one try before 55, 3 tries in the remaining 25. Why and how they start so poorly? There's something incredibly wrong with how they are playing their game. And, you know, their defense was poor, but I thought their attack overall was rather average and non-threatening as well. Just errors, just miscommunications. And this is kind of an old thing we've not said for a while, but players playing like individuals rather than a team. I've not really hit any teams up too much for that recently, but it kind of feels like that's where the Highlanders are. Everyone's like, you know, like you have a Fakatava, right? Okay, I want to be the number 1 All Black number 9, so I'm going to play my tits off and try be that, you know, that guy, stand out. But, you know, at what sacrifice is that for his back row, or is that for, you know, guys outside him who aren't getting just his typical service, you know, for whoever's at 10. And I have to say, I am a bit of an oracle, right, for Fali Afunga, who's starting at number 10. I told you. And look, the kid doesn't go too bad. So I'm not too unimpressed with him. I think he's going to be a bit of a star in the future. But yeah, something certainly really a troublesome thing there for the Highlanders. Yeah, line out was a bit average, but I thought they had a decent enough scrum. I don't know if there's something wrong with the group at the moment, with the way they bring him off the bench a lot more, whether he's just not fitness-wise up to it or not. The way in the last few rounds he starts and then he's on the bench and he starts. So, yeah, a few question marks around those sorts of things. But to me, it's just that first 60 minutes. And so what's going on in that team? Like, I don't even care what the score is. You know, get to half-time down 40 points to 20. But let's just learn how to score 20 points in the first half, right? You know what I mean? It's where's the focus? Where's the goals? We're going consistently into half time out of the game. And then, hey, bang, 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 we score late. Woo, we're the better team at the end. Are they leaving this game happy? No. I mean, if they are, they're delusional. Because they got pumped by the Rebels, right? They were never even in that game. They got outplayed, they got outgunned, they got outpassioned, they got out everything. Maybe apart from the scrum later on. And that's it. This is almost like the Blues winning by 60 points against Moana a few weeks ago. What are the Highlanders learning from this? They've scored a few late tries again, like the 4th week in a row, and not being competitive.
Well, look, the Rebels got themselves two. This was what I meant actually by saying the Rebels got themselves 2 scores ahead and then just kept them at the arm's length. Now that wasn't helped by the Rasmuti Kuva, Neepkins getting it. Yeah, I've gone and lost it now. I had it in the season. I've gone and lost it. But he had he got a yellow card again. Now last week I said he's got a bit of a yellow card problem, so I thought this week, if I'm going to say it, I better actually get the facts in front of me. So last week it was a bit premature, to be fair. He's had because he picked up a yellow card in the 2nd round against the Blues, and then he picked one up last weekend against the previous weekend against the Hurricanes. Then he's picked another one up now against Rebels. So that's 3 now. He's picked up in 7 games. So it's starting to become a problem. And that led to a penalty try as well. So it's a bit. So it's and he is the Highlanders had 6 cards this year. So he's half of their cards, right? One for a yellow for Holland, a yellow for South Norway, and that red for Talia so far. So it is becoming a bit of a problem. He's a lovely player to watch. I do really enjoy him. Great attacking player. Perhaps being asked to do too much on defence because look in this game, both sides 18 and 20, right? Similar missed tackles, but clean breaks by the Rebels 8-3 by the Highlanders, which shows you that they managed to pull that. So that's what happens when you've got individual players getting pulled out of lines and teams being able to pull you around and create space. And then he's being left then 1-on-2 or 2-on-1 kind of attackers against him, and he's having to make a choice and getting himself in that position. Nocturno says he's not figured out his positioning defensively well enough yet. I don't know if it's that or whether it's just he's being hung out to dry by the front line, letting too many players run through at him at the end of the day. So it is a problem that they need to sort out because he's either getting it wrong or he's getting put in situations where there is no right answer for him, which can happen for fullbacks. Let's be honest. But it's not. That's clearly a problem. And that was the score that put the Rebels 2 scores out, and then they just went on from there after that. So, but yeah, well impressed by the Rebels. Very happy about that. Kickoff returns not super standard either. But anyway, but when he's got ball in hand attacking, lovely player. But yeah,
that's the problem, isn't it? You can't leave him out because attacking wise, he is the only threat. And when you look what's in front of him defensively, Tautavanawa is not really going to stop anyone. Nareki's not a defender. Jonah Lowe, thankfully, I mean this not in a bad way for him, but he's injured. I don't like the fact they're playing a winger in midfield, but he's out. Apparently, Talia, who was in that game, is going to replace him for the next match. So, yeah, I mean, structurally, defensively, he is very much wanting on his outside channels. And look, I like the fact the Highlanders have gone, hey, let's get some attacking threat because we've always got options to break a line, but we never have options to finish. Okay, now you've got all the options. Jonah Nareki, it kicks way too much when he's got the ball in hand. I can get past that. Tautavanawa, for me, is falling very quickly into the Almua category at the Crusaders of, hey, promised so much, and is he really delivering on what we wanted down here? Not so much. But yeah, other than that, I still go back to the first 60 minutes, right? There's a lot of issues there. But yeah, Withy's good. I'm trying to look for positives here before I wrap up. Withy's good. Really impressed by him. But yeah, selections problems and just defensive frailties. Yeah, I just think Ratamatavuki Neepins just needs to work on that defense. Great attacking threat. You can't drop him because of that. But look, defensively, to concede 50 points to the Rebels, that's not great at all. And Nareki's a good cover defender, but he's tiny, right? And when you got power players, which so many wingers are, I know he's for his size, he's very strong and la. Okay, we've heard the story all before, but there's no substitute for size, right? And when he's getting ditched by Jonah Lowe, who's out of position, out of form, out of fitness, I struggled. I can understand why they're overcompensating on their teammates, because is the trust, is the connection, is that developed? Because hey, look, individual names on paper look good, but collectively as a team, it's not working.
Yep. To be fair, on Levi and Moore, I thought he had a better game this week. I think he got involved.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yep.
Mm-hmm. There, so perhaps maybe it's coming. It is starting to come together for him at the Crusaders. It can take time. Absolutely. So that's the round, guys. Where are we? Where are we at then? So Crusaders. Sorry, I'm just so into
Crusaders top of the table.
Wow, just for so many years, that's how you just start this section out with. Hurricanes, sorry, top of the table, still undefeated, 7 wins from 7 games. The Blues then second, 5 points behind on equal points with the Brumbies. Brumbies now on a 5-game winning streak. So look, they've hit their straps absolutely there on that one. Now there was a bit of a comment on one of the shows I listened to saying that the Brumbies perhaps they had a bit of an easy an easy run to get to where they are now. To me, I don't think that's fair. It's short. They had Rebels first up, lost to the Chiefs, then the Force, Highlanders, Waratahs, and they're coming up against the Blues now. So they played the Chiefs already. Coming up, they've got the Blues, Hurricanes. So it's got a tough couple of games coming up. Then the Drua at home, key there. Waratahs, Crusaders, and Rebels. And where the Crusaders have played, and then finish off with the Force. So yes, the next 2 games are tough, but they can easily win all the rest after that. I think Blues away, Hurricanes at home. Maybe the Brumbies are the first team to actually get that win against Hurricanes. We'll have to wait and see. Should be a cracker. Then you got the surprise Rebels, 3 wins on the bounce. Bloody hell! There, as you say, will they finish there? Highly unlikely. But boy, oh boy, enjoy it while you're there, folks. And you've got yourselves in a good position, as you say, for playoffs. Then the Chiefs, a point behind the Rebels. And then a big gap to the Reds, 6 points back. Now, sure, the Reds got a game in hand, but from what we've seen, that's not a gimme. Those points. The Fijian and Drua still without 3 wins at home, 4 wins away. They're followed by Moana Pacifica with their best ever season so far. So stop going down on them, folks. Then outside of the playoff places, just by 1 point, you got the Tars, put another further point back, the Highlanders, Crusaders on 7 points, and the Force on 5. So it's picking time, I believe.
Oh. How'd you go last week?
Shit.
Technically, I got 3 because the game doesn't know how to decipher a golden point game. So I'll take it.
Really?
I did switch my pick. Remember I said on this last week that I'll go with the Highlanders. I switched late. I went to the Rebels.
Oh.
And it paid off.
So I got 2, apparently.
No one picked the Reds to lose.
I probably got one for the draw. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, they gave you one for the draw.
So that was a what's the word I'm looking for? That was a
mulligan.
A sympathy pick. A sympathy point for me. Oh dear. So this week kicks off with the one that I'm finding really hard to choose.
Really?
The Drua at home against the Hurricanes. It should be Hurricanes, but the Drua haven't lost at home yet. So the review's gone with the Drua at home.
Come on.
I so want to go with the Drua, but I'm going to have to pick the Hurricanes because they are so good.
But look, my reasoning's the same. I look at this and I go, yeah, like if you just look at the first team, you go, draw at home should be a win. But the Canes are the Canes are the best team in the competition, right? Unbeaten, top of the table. They've beaten the next best team and apparently the Chiefs or whatever. So look, they're looking high, they're looking good. I think the Drew will give them a good go, but I just can't see them losing. I think the margin will be close. I know they give you an option for a margin on this one. So no, I think you're going to be around 10 point on a margin, but yeah, I look at this and I see 93% and go, yeah, everyone's just going by the table, which makes me want to pick the Drewer. But just to be like, yeah, screw you guys, you pick dumb. But Canes, I think it's too good. For me, this is the Crusaders of the last 7 years. They just look too good to go against right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, where's my TAB gone? I did have it up earlier. So I'm going to have let's see what the TAB, because as you say, the picking one tends to skew one way or the other massively.
Honestly, I did this yesterday, and I went through to around I went right to the end, just looking at fixtures, just chatting on stream, and I think a lot of people have signed up for this, picked the whole league, and finished. For example, Crusaders versus Blues in round 14. Crusaders are 54-46. Crusaders Brumbies at GIO Stadium, 67% saying Crusaders. So I think a lot of people have just gone, hey, round one, sign up, whole competition, done. I'll quit and come back at the end of the season. So yeah, I agree.
So the Drew are $4, like Hurricanes $1.25. Now that is a New Zealand bookie, so it does tend to skew. It does tend to favour or skew slightly towards the New Zealand teams. But even so, the next one again, this is a tough pick: Reds versus Highlanders. Because as you said, the Reds did not look good last week. But if the Reds turn up, they win. If they don't turn up, then the Highlanders in with a big shout here. The TAB at $1.40. I think the Reds are going to turn up with the Highlanders at $3. I think you've got to go Reds because they're at home, and if they turn up, they're going to win. And that's but unfortunately, it's a coin flip. Are they going to turn up or not?
Look, the fact of the matter is, the Reds' capacity is up here, right? The Reds can play this badly or this good. The Highlanders are down here, right? So the Reds have to come down to this level for the Highlanders to really be in a chance. They don't match the Reds at their best. If the Reds play like utter trash again, then the Highlanders are up a shot. But the fact of the matter is, look, would a team that good, talent-wise, play that badly twice in a week? Or 3 times in a week, isn't it? They've had actually before the bye, they played a couple. Look, I can't see it. If this was against any team 6 and up, including that's the Reds obviously themselves, yeah, they're losing no matter where it is. But yeah, I'm going Reds. Not even close to an argument. The Highlanders come over bonus point. That's as good as W for me.
Wow. It could be a tough week for the New Zealand side. It says, yeah, it could be.
Yep.
The next one then, Blues versus the Brumbies, 91% with the Blues. Wow.
Exactly. Dumb.
And $1.25 with the Blues against $4 for the Brumbies. The Brumbies are the same as the Fijian and Drua, as in the TAB.
Shocked. I'm shocked. I've almost fell off my chair.
Now,
not really.
I'm gonna have to go with the Blues because they're at home. If they're in Canberra, I'd go with the Brumbies. But I do not see them being 91% favourites. Right, this Brumbies team is a good team. It is a lot closer than that. It's more of 60-40. But I'm still with the Blues. I'm just not with the Blues at that level. I think that's way too high. $1.25 for the Blues is not a good bet. On the next one, though, the next one's even crazier. But so I'm going with the Blues, but they are not $1.25 favourites in my book.
Count me in the 9%, baby. Count me in the 9%. Brumbies picking up the W. And I'll be skiting about this like nothing else next week if it comes true. Otherwise, we won't talk about it. Look, I like the Brumbies, man. Brumbies are hot. Brumbies are really, really, really hot. Look, right now, I think they are the form team. Brumbies versus Canes anywhere? Matchup. I couldn't pick that. No way. But here, I mentioned the Brumbies. They're fun, man. They're fun. They've got their forwards sorted. They got the back sorted. They look to have the complete package right now, and I think they're going to give the Blues a good run. Start is going to be really crucial. Whoever gets the better start will kick on in this one, I reckon.
This is a one where, and look, the Blues, their season at the moment is actually, whilst there's always talk about their attack, this season is based on their defense. They got the best defense in the league. They've only given up 95 points. So it comes down to, can the Brumbies unlock that? To my mind, because
nice.
Brumbies Canes the following round in Canberra is going to be good. These 2 cracking games on the bounce here. Basically the top 3 teams going at it, which is great. We'll see. Can the Brumbies break down that Blues defense? Because I say it is the best in the league so far. We'll see.
The thing about the Blues defense is a lot of teams have tried to take them on or have been forced to take them on more in the forwards. And I think that's where the Blues have really stepped up this year. The Brumbies are going to threaten them in the forwards, but they're also going to threaten them a lot in the backs. I don't think the Blues have been threatened in both. Okay, the team's taken them on the backs, and they've kind of covered that well and dominated the team in the forwards because obviously, weaknesses and strengths. This is a Brumbies team, I think, that can beat you both in the forwards and in the backs and are good enough to match you in both, and take you on. So I think if the Brumbies decide to go off width, they can still beat up the Blues or match the Blues with the pack. It's going to be an intriguing battle. Really, really, really intriguing. But yeah, come on, 9%, baby. Let's go.
And matchups that I think will be kind of cool. Toole versus Talia, right? Because Toole left wing, Talia right wing. I think that's going to be really interesting with that one, especially as Talia likes to leave his wing and come play in the middle of the park, right? The turnover ball. Does that mean they're going to have a problem out there on that wing? So that could be interesting. The other argument is, do the Brumbies move Toole across to the right wing to be opposite Caleb Clark? I just thought I'd feed you that one. But anyway, we're moving on then. Final game of the round: Western Force versus the Crusaders. Now, the bottom 2 teams in the league. Now, key here is it's in Perth. Now, again. So we've got the Crusaders have won 1 game all season, are the shortest favourites this week at $1.15.
Not only should we work for World Rugby, we should work for the TAB as well. It's crazy.
The Force are $5.50 in this game. From the picking things, the Force are at 8%, the Crusaders at 92%. I'm sorry, but this is not a 92% win for the Crusaders. This is way closer than that. This again is another one that's going to be a tight one that I would put down as maybe a 5-point game. This is going to be close. The Crusaders have not shown they can blast teams away, and this is in Perth, right? This is a long trip over there. From memory, the Chiefs went over there as part of Trans-Tasman after we had Super Rugby Aotearoa, where they I think they won it, didn't they? And they went over to Perth and they lost in Perth. So they were the top New Zealand team from memory. Went over there and lost. So look, it is not it's not an easy place to go, as we found also with the Drua. So to me. It's a lot closer than that. I am going to go Crusaders because I just can't. It's just one of those things that's ingrained in my head. But to me, it's a hell of a lot closer than the bookies or the pickers seem to think, in my mind.
Look, I looked at this game yesterday. What's today? I don't know what that is. You're throwing me off. Anyway, I looked at this yesterday quite a bit extensively. Found a history because you think about it. You're like, the Crusaders have gone over there a lot and they've choked. It seems to be a bit of a trend that they've choked a bit over in Perth. But the fact of the matter is they've only played 3 times as in anywhere since 2017. So that's 7 years or 6 years, I guess, in between since those. I know we've had all the COVID crap and whatever, but still, once they've played in Perth, and that was a 53-15 thrashing. Yes, I know, different team Crusaders, right? Very different team in 2022. But you have to go back quite a bit of time. It was 2016. The Western Force lost by a point over in Perth. And they beat the Crusaders in 2013. It was the last time they beat them in Perth. So that builds me up perfectly to say I'm going with the Western Force. No, look, Perth
dear.
is a tough place to go, right? I looked at history because I thought that there was a lot of good history between them, but it's actually quite a long time ago. Obviously in Canterbury, Crusaders romped them pretty much every time. 2021 was 29-21. That was the closest it got. It's an 8-point win there for the Crusaders. But yeah, this year, very different team. Probably 7 titles. So that was from probably was about 2013 sort of time when that sort of team started to come together, right? 2014, 2016 when they played. So yeah, Western Force, I think, are on the up. The Crusaders struggling. I think they're at that level, and I think Perth is going to be very much a deciding factor between these sides.
And look, this is the closest we now come to long trips like South Africa, for example. So players like your Rivers Rehana have never experienced stuff like that. Have never experienced a week like this where you lose a day and a half or a day to travel. So you're not ready. You've got time zones. You're waking up at funny times. So your young players like that won't have experienced this before if they've not been on a November tour.
You're not going to Munster and Bristol?
Oh, we might have done. That's okay. Oh, you've kind of totally ruined my entire my entire piece there as to why I was bigging up the Force. Anyway, and with that, because clearly I know nothing, as Steve just pointed out, and we'll call it a day because we're well over at 2 hours. Thank you everybody for joining us. Sorry we've been a day late. We'll be back to normal. Or we're back next Monday with this.
This especially long, just because we're a day late. We got double show. You should be
double
happy.
show. Oh, I see. There we go. I mean, imagine if there were 7 games to discuss rather than just 4.
We need to do. We need to do an All Black squad, a mid Super Rugby All Black squad.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that might be a special. All right. Okay, folks.
Not now.
No, not yes. I'm not doing.
Mid Super Rugby.
Catch you all later. We'll see you. Stay safe. We'll see you next week.